All right. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to this ever official training, high quality, Hollywood, high definition, formatted, very serious and professional recording of uh, the topic encouragement. I realized when I asked the question, what did you want to learn about or what was most important, I just kind of put the word encouragement there. I didn't know if that, later I realized, well, I didn't know if that meant you needed encouragement or if you're trying to give encouragement or if you just wanted to kind of learn about the word encouragement. So I'm going to assume that you needed it. That's what this video is going to be about. Um, the, uh, the ever negative presence in our culture and kind of the intensity that's often felt, especially in the online space, where everybody's trying to be so competitive and vie for attention and jockey for space. It gets a little bit overwhelming. So I'm going to assume, if you're anything like me, that there are a lot of times where you need encouragement. So that's going to be my focus. That's going to be my takeaway on this. That's going to be the approach that I use for this. I do not have any fancy sound equipment, so I hope you can hear it fine. And I also am not a video expert. I film most of my content on my my phone, on my iPhone. So you'll have to excuse if it gets shaky. It's because I'm holding it. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I mean, this is all meant to look like a homemade video filmed by an amateur, as opposed to whatever. Anyways, I'll move on. Um, when I think about encouragement, and when I do any sort of training on most topics that relate to um, things that make us respond a certain way, feeling. The first thing I think that's super important to talk about is the importance of unlearning habits. And encouragement is one of those where this definitely applies. I really feel like we live in a very discouraged society. I think that's fair to say. And I think it's more often than not, people find themselves discouraged than they find themselves encouraged. And with the amount of separation and tension in society, when the majority of people on one side are encouraged, the other side is very discouraged. I'll give you an example. The recent president election, right? That presidential election was one of the craziest. I feel like we all can agree that it was a bit wild. The campaigns were nuts. The bickering was crazy. The presidential debates weren't really even debates. I mean, it was just kind of this crazy nutso thing, and nobody had any idea what was going to happen, right? But I remember looking at a post that a dear friend of mine from Nashville put up. And after Trump had gotten elected, now she was very vocal about this. She's not a very political person. And when I say vocal, I'm not talking about, she would post all over her Instagram or her social media about it. But in conversations, she would definitely voice that she just really despised Trump. Okay. And again, this isn't going to be a political rant. This isn't about that. I just want to give you this example when it comes to encouragement and discouragement. And I remember that when Trump was elected, she posted a picture of herself crying. And I know this person well enough to know that this wasn't some sort of act. She didn't just put water on her face, that this was a really scary moment for her in what she saw for the future of her country. Now, on the other side, I also saw posts from friends of mine celebrating and being thankful that Trump was elected. So I had friends on one side who were very encouraged by what had happened, and I had friends on the other side that were very discouraged by what happened. So when I think about encouragement as something that we receive or need on a regular basis, which I think we do need encouragement on a regular basis, which that's not even one of the topics or one of the little subtopics of this training. That's just, I think that goes without saying. But it's a difficult subject sometimes, but because what what will encourage one person can discourage another person. So it becomes a little bit sticky sometimes when we get into what to encourage, how to receive encouragement. And so this training is just going to be on how to find your source of encouragement. And I think that's kind of number one, is finding what is encouraging for you, finding your version of encouragement, because what encourages you might not encourage me. So I can't speak on generalities and say, hey, this is what you need to do to be encouraged, because I don't know if what encourages me will encourage you. But there are some things you can do to find the encouragement that you need. And through this training, I hope that I can encourage you to find that steady source of it for yourself, because encouragement is a powerful tool that can keep us motivated. It can keep us on track. It can keep us confident in what we do, not only in our work, but as people, right? Our confidence, our self-esteem. These are things that can be raised and pushed forward as we are encouraged. So getting back to unlearning habits, though, there's a huge sense of, now how do I want to say this? Surprising, there's no script to this. You mean this is all just kind of winging it? I've got some notes in front of me, but no, this was not all scripted out. I really wanted to kind of shoot from the heart on this one. A lot of us have developed over time, especially if we find ourselves often discouraged. And to clarify, I'm not talking about a depressive state where we sit in the dark and drink nothing but whiskey and cry ourselves to sleep and contemplate suicide. I'm not talking about that space of discouragement. I'm talking about kind of the mundane drag, day in and day out. I just don't know if I can, or I don't know what to do next, or I just feel kind of blah, or everybody else seems to be having a good time, but I'm not, or I don't know if I can get the promotion, or I don't know what to do, or I feel like I can't. I know I can, but I just I just need that extra push, right? That little bit of encouragement. You can do this. You're going to be fine. You're going to do great. Most of us, well, society really, culture, media, a lot of things that we're exposed to on a daily basis right now, a lot of that is designed to make us feel and think that we are inferior to what else is going on. Most of us are actually in a habit of looking outwardly into the world and comparing ourselves with everything that we see. It's a habit, something we do subconsciously. Every magazine ad that has beautiful women tells girls, you're not pretty unless you look like this. You're not pretty unless you are this weight, unless you're this jean size. I'm very grateful that over the last couple of years you started to see a lot more of women being vocal about, hey, I'm pretty just the way I am. I agree with that. I believe that. I think that's something that's true, but it's harder to sell. So if the magazines and the celebrities and everybody out there, these days you got these waist trainers and you've got these, big butts and big hips and this little tiny waist and then, a big chest or whatever it is that the media is selling at the time for their sex appeal that's bringing in all this money, right? The girl who doesn't look like that is now discouraged because she's going, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to, I'm not built like that. How do I get that tiny of a waist? And then that girl's going to go do a lot of stuff to her body that she doesn't need to be doing or that might be detrimental just because media told her, hey, look, here's the deal. You're not pretty enough, or you're not sexy enough, or you're not fit enough, right? The amount of fit profiles on Instagram now, I think are just they're wreaking havoc, not just for women, but for men. I mean, there's so much out there that says you aren't good enough. And we continuously expose ourselves to it. And every time we expose ourselves to those things, the habit of believing it gets stronger up here. And then we start to take it to heart and we start to really believe that it's true. And that's where a lot of discouragement starts to settle in. So I don't think that a lot of people are truly discouraged. I think their habit is to believe discouragement. And so it's much harder for them to find sources or reasons to be encouraged, right? When we start to focus on the negative that's given us and we start to feel inferior, it's much harder to then look outwards and say, hey, I'm encouraged by this and by that. We're constantly instead flooded with messages of, here's why I'm discouraged about what I'm doing, how much money I'm making, my job, my relationships, my kids, how I look, my body, the way I feel, right? And the comparison. So that being said, there are some habits that need to be unlearned. Okay. Now, before we continue, I want you to do something super important. I should have told you this at the beginning. Whatever. I need you to grab a pen and a paper because we're going to write some things down that I think are super important, especially for those of you that specifically asked for training on encouragement. And like I said, I'm assuming that you were asking that because you want to be encouraged. And that's my goal. So grab a pen and a paper. If you're somewhere where you can't grab a pen and a paper or you can't write, maybe you're driving or maybe you're out there, listen, or I say out there, like maybe you're at a restaurant or something. Use the tablecloth, obviously, and some lipstick if you can find some. No, but if you can't write right now, then wait till you get home to do this. You can listen to this, the rest of it, if you're not able to write, but if you can pause it. Feel free to do that until you get to where you're trying to go. But feel free to listen, whatever. But you're going to need to write some of this stuff down, okay? The habit of believing discouragement is what often leads us to discouragement. And we do it subconsciously, like I said, and a lot of times it leaves us in a place where it's much more difficult to find encouraging things. So the number one thing we need to do is we're going to identify sources of discouragement. Okay, this might take you a minute to actually do, and don't be afraid of letting this really just kind of come out. Okay, take your piece of paper, write at the top sources of discouragement, and I want you to just start writing things that discourage you. Okay, this could be political articles, it could be your Facebook feed. I got off Facebook a few months ago. I have it because I needed it for some Facebook ads, and then I needed to connect it to, I needed a page for some business stuff. But my other one that I had spent years on and building and all my friends and stuff, I check messages on it maybe once a month, something like that. Speaking of encouragement, kind of funny story. I had a lady message me randomly a few days ago, and she said, hey, did you ever lose a Bible that your parents gave you? In, like, what did she say, 2006, 2001. And I was like, yeah, I think so. Why? And she goes, well, I live in Portland and I have it. And I've got the note they wrote you and everything. Did you ever live in Portland? I was like, yeah, like a long time ago. I mean, years and years and years ago. I was tattooing up there. Anyways, long story short, this lady found this Bible and reached out to me, and now she's shipping it back. So I'm going to get the Bible. See, that's encouraging. That's a cool thing, right? I don't know, it just hit me. But take a piece of paper and write down anything that discourages you. Okay, political articles. Oh, I was talking about Facebook. Facebook feeds. I had to get off Facebook, especially at the beginning of the presidential campaigning. Things just got ugly. People were being so nasty and negative, and it just was kind of discouraging me all the time. And I always found myself scrolling through, hoping for some breath of fresh air, and just never got it. So if your Facebook is discouraging you, write that down. Maybe it's a coworker at work. Maybe it's just your job in general. Maybe you have a discouraging friend. I've had to cut a shitload of those out over the years, right? Friends that just aren't encouraging, they're gone now. And I know that's tough, so we won't touch on that today. But anything that's discouraging you, press pause on this video and make that list. And I want you to get as in-depth as you can on that list. It's very important that you do that, okay? So take some time right now and build that list as long as you need to, and identify sources of discouragement in your life, okay? So press pause right now and go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you have done that, I'm going to tell you a real big secret. This has been kept under lock and key for years. Every great government has passed this secret on to its highest officials, and up until 2 days ago, this has actually been only made available to the leaders of our country, including the president, who would receive it upon inauguration. And it has now been released to me and only me, and I'm now releasing it to you. And the second step in this process of getting rid of discouragement is to, drum roll, eliminate sources of discouragement. Oh my gosh, right? Mind blowing. Crazy. Here's the deal, it is super easy to be discouraged, to have a negative influence somewhere in our life, and to never do anything about it. Now, I don't know about you, but if I walked out of my house and there was a guy standing there, and every day I walked out of my house, he punched me in my nose, right? He would, first of all, he wouldn't ever get to do it a second time, right? I mean, like, nobody gets to just punch me in my nose and then get away with it twice. Like, you might surprise me the first time, but you're not going to get a second punch in, certainly. I mean, unless we've got gloves on, and that's the point of what we're doing. We're just boxing. That's fine. That sounds fun. But if I just walk out and just boom, but we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it to our psyche. We're doing it to our self-esteem and our confidence. We're doing it to our mindset every day when we expose ourselves to these sources of discouragement. So look at that list that you just wrote, all your sources of discouragement. And I want you to look down at that list. I want you to look at how many of those things you could actually eliminate today. Now, I mean, look at those. Like, really look at them. These are the things that are causing discouragement in your life. These things on that paper are the reason you need encouragement. So now, if we're trying to become encouraged, and we're going to do a couple more exercises, but if we're trying to be encouraged, how much easier might it be to, maybe you actually don't need to do anything crazy. Maybe you have plenty of encouragement in your life, but your sources of discouragement outweigh the good stuff you have coming in. Right? So the next step is, which of these can I eliminate? Right? So the next step is, I want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's just say, 10 being the hardest and 1 being the easiest, I want you to write a numerical value next to each of those things as to how difficult or easy that source of discouragement would be to eliminate. Right? So for example, my Facebook, that was a source of discouragement for me. It took me, I don't know, all of 5 seconds to deactivate the account. Done. So I would put a 1 next to that. Go, oh, that's a piece of cake. I can deactivate that now. Now, some of you are more attached to your Facebooks. Some of you might just go, oh my gosh, I could never leave that. That's how my friends and family get a hold of me. Yeah, well, you'd be surprised what your friends and family will not do to get a hold of you when you suddenly aren't on Facebook all day anymore, because people have a tendency to forget that you exist. Guess what? It's okay. Life goes on. But maybe you're more attached to it, all right? Be honest about the numerical value. Just because it was easy for me to get rid of mine doesn't necessarily mean it was easy for you. I mean, be honest, be vulnerable about this stuff with yourself, okay? It's super important. If you want to get to the encouragement part, the good stuff, right, we're going to have to get through kind of this BS first. So, right, a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the easiest, 10 being the hardest, okay? Write down, or right next to it, put a numerical value for how easy or how difficult it's going to be to get rid of that source of discouragement. Okay, so do that right now. Now that you've done that, okay, I wasn't going to add this step in there because I was just going to kind of let it do, and this next step I actually do when I do advanced training. But one of the things you can do, I won't cover it too much, but one of the things you can do is you can spend time on each one of those things and really kind of make a plan for eliminating it if it's above a 5. So if it's anywhere between let's say a 5 and below, just get rid of it. Do what you have to do. It should be easy enough. Just get rid of it. If it's 6 and above, like 6 to 10, I would encourage you to take that thing and actually kind of put some steps into place. Find some accountability on those things and really understand the importance of getting rid of those sources of discouragement. And I would write out, here's what I would do, here's how I'm going to do this, here's my plan, here's my accountability to this, things like that. But make yourself a plan and get rid of these sources. As many as you can eliminate, get them out of there, right? Let's say your brother or your sister's super discouraging to you. I understand family's hard to get rid of, but you can change the amount of time you spend around those people. You can have conversations about it. I mean, again, I'm not here to be your counselor. I'm not a therapist of any sort, but do everything within your power to get rid of any source of discouragement that you have in your life, okay? Once we're clear of all that, now we have a clean slate. Now we can take a deep breath. Okay, see, now we can start focusing on us. When we have a lot of discouragement in our life or sources that create discouragement in our mindsets, it clutters things up. It's very difficult to focus on the positive stuff. It's very difficult to focus on movement forward because we're so busy on what's behind us, holding us down and dragging us backwards. Okay, so when we get rid of these sources of discouragement, now it's gone, clean slate. Take a deep breath. Okay, so now, new page. Let's get into some good stuff. Okay, that stuff was a little bit heavy. Cool, it's done, gone, out of the way. Now let's get into some good stuff. Okay, on the top of the page, I want you to write some things. Now, keep in mind, you might get to this point in this training and go, well, I'm good now. If so, great. Congratulations, But again, we're going to move forward for those of us that still need some encouragement. What I want you to do is I want you to write, I want you to make a new list, and I want you to write areas I need encouragement in. Okay? Now, clarifying this, you might need encouragement in your job. Hey, I need more recognition. I need more encouragement. I need to be told more that I'm doing a great job. I need that. I need to be acknowledged. I need to be told that I can do this. I need to be told I'm going to be okay. Maybe you're going through a hard time. Maybe you got some health issues that are kind of scary. They happen. It's part of life sometimes, okay? Maybe you need some encouragement as you go through maybe a certain treatment or you go through a process of that health issue. That can be a scary thing. Maybe you need some encouragement through that. Maybe you're crushing it in business, but you're scared about what's next, or you're not sure, or maybe you're just starting a business, right? And you need some encouragement to keep going, right? So write those things down. Whatever you need encouragement in, I want you to write those things down. And again, be very honest with yourself. There's no limit on how long this list can be. Some people, there's going to be, some of you, there's going to be a million things that you think you need encouragement in. That's okay. The more encouragement, the better. Heck, all right? I understand that not everybody can handle a lot of things by themselves on their own. Now, I'm not encouraging you to be a baby about everything. Going, oh my gosh, that dude took my parking spot today at the grocery store. I just need some encouragement or I can't get over it. Right? Get real. Talk about it. We're talking about the stuff that really matters here, okay? Dig down, dig deep. What's the stuff that's important, right? The valuable stuff in our life. What do you need encouragement in? Make that list, write that list down. Okay. Next, I want you to set that list aside, and I want you to write down what encourages you, like what already encourages you. What are the things that you find encouraging? Okay. So you've got your things you need encouragement in, and now you're going to make another list of things that you find encouraging. What encourages you? Okay. Maybe your grandma encourages you. Awesome. Write down grandma. Okay. Maybe going to the rodeo encourages you. Maybe reading industry publications that related to your industry. Okay. Success stories. Maybe that encourages you. Maybe going and volunteering at the children's hospital encourages you. Maybe going for a walk at the zoo encourages you. Maybe going outside or reading a book or listening to your favorite music. Maybe these things encourage you. Okay. So write down everything you can think of that provides encouragement already for you. Okay. Now remember, if you're watching this, it's because you requested information, you asked for more encouragement. Okay. I'm going to show you a cool thing here in a second, but write that down. Anything that encourages you, I want you to write it down. Okay. So pause the video, make that list. Okay. Now that that is done, I want you to look at the list of things that encourage you. If you requested this video because you needed encouragement, I want you to look at the list that you have, and I want you to look at how long it is. How many things are there that were already encouraging you? And this isn't part of the training, but I do want to ask this question. Okay, how much encouragement are you already getting that you're taking for granted, that you're not paying attention to? Most people who need encouragement or talk about wanting encouragement actually have plenty, but they take it for granted, or their sources of discouragement outweigh the sources of encouragement they currently already have. Okay, just a side note, think about that. Think on that, okay? Drill it in your brain. But we're going to take that list of things that encourage you, okay? All we're going to do with that list of things that encourage you, if somebody, we'll get to it in a second, but or we'll elaborate on it in a second, but if there's somebody on that list that encourages you, I want you to say thank you. Okay, we're going to get into the habit of showing gratitude for where our encouragement comes from, but we're also going to expose ourselves to more encouragement, and that's this next step. Okay, you wrote a list earlier of the things you needed encouragement in. Now I want you to take that list back out, and I want you to write down right next to it, or make a new list that coincides with it. And one by one, I want you to identify where you might find encouragement in that area. All right. So if you need encouragement at work, where are you going to find? How are you going to find encouragement for work? Are you going to talk to a coworker? Are you going to talk to the boss? Are you going to talk to the boss's boss? Are you going to go talk to HR? All right, what are you going to do to find that encouragement at work? Maybe it's somebody, maybe it's a friend of yours that gives you a pep talk every morning before you walk into work. How are you going to find that encouragement that you need? Where's it going to come from? What source are you going to give yourself? Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a prayer book or a motivational quote book that you read throughout the day at work to just remind you that you're good and you're going to do great things and you're going to keep moving forward, right? Where are you going to find that encouragement? So everything that's on that list of these are the things I need encouragement in, you're going to identify and look for a source that you can get that encouragement from. So I want you to write that down. Now, once that list is done, now you have a source for all the things you needed encouragement in, and then you're going to add that to the list of things you find encouragement in already. Your list should have, if not at least, most likely it's doubled now of all the areas that you have encouragement from. Those areas existed the whole time. See, what just happened is we went from things we want to be encouraged into, but maybe we just needed that extra push to, I know what I did when I went through this exercise. Just needed that extra push of, oh, let's find some areas that we can get that encouragement from. And now my list of areas that I get encouragement from, like double, it's massive now. Now I realize, man, I'm getting encouragement from all over the place. This is great. One thing that helped me was having a steady source of outside perspective encouragement. Somebody that was actually pushing encouragement, somebody that was unbiased, somebody that could be honest, somebody that would say, hey, stop whining, get it done, right? Get your shit together kind of a deal. Do what you have to do, but keep going. You're doing great. All right, I needed that from the outside rather than people who knew me, because then sometimes we go, well, yeah, you're just encouraging me because you know me, or you're just saying that, or you're just trying to get under my skin, or what, right? Whatever. We sabotage ourselves sometimes, don't we? Especially when it comes to encouragement, right? Have you ever been told you looked good and then you go, oh, no, you're just saying that? Like, why would we tell people not to, right? We want encouragement and then we shut it down sometimes when it happens. But your list now of sources of encouragement should be long. Right? You should have plenty of sources there that you can receive encouragement from. Now that list can continue growing as long as you want it to. As many times as you want, you can do this exercise. You can find new sources of encouragement and add them to your source of encouragement list. All right? And be aware of what is encouraging you. Be aware of all these things. Be aware of where your encouragement is coming from. Be aware of how many people are encouraging you or how many sources are encouraging you. Okay? The last thing that we're going to do, okay, new piece of paper, the last list, and in my opinion, this is the most important list, and this will change everything about your encouragement world. I promise you, it'll rock your encouragement world. I want you to start a new list, and I want you up at the top to write down and to make a list as long as you can make it. The challenge of this list is to make it as long as you can. And you're simply going to write down the names of everybody, anybody that you can encourage. There's power in encouraging people. There's an incredible thing. In fact, I mean, don't ask me facts, don't ask me the numbers, the statistics, or the chemicals, or whatever. But science has shown us that when we give, there's something that happens in our brain that triggers joy. We're actually built to give. We're designed, we're created to enjoy giving, which is why so many people are actually miserable, is because when you get into the habit of never giving and you're constantly consuming and taking and getting, right? It never seems like enough. Oh, I'll give as soon as I have more, or I'll help when I have more time, or whatever. It actually kind of starts to rot us on the inside because we're built for giving, right? We're built to express. We're built to share joy. We're built to share encouragement. Okay, so I want you to write a list of everybody that you can encourage. And then if you want, my suggestion is write how you're going to encourage that person. Again, this isn't easy. You want encouragement in your life, you got to earn it. You got to work for it, because once you, I mean, this is such a big deal, right? We're so hardwired to, we're hardwired to buy into bullshit. We are. So we're going to have to create some new habits. We're going to have to create the habit of giving. We're going to have to create the habit of finding sources of encouragement. We're going to have to create the habit of giving out encouragement. Okay? But when you start giving encouragement, you start intentionally encouraging people, you'll find that your need for encouragement shrinks. It literally shrinks, because when you get encouragement, it brings joy. Okay? So let's say 10 people encourage you. And every time 10 people encourage you, your joy meter goes from this to this, right? That's great. That's awesome. But we know that if we give, if we share encouragement, if we start encouraging others, right, that automatically already increases our joy meter, which means I don't need as many sources of encouragement to come my way, because the encouragement that I get from encouraging others already fills me with that joy that I'm actually seeking when I say I need encouragement. So finding ways to encourage people actually fills you with the very thing that you're looking for when you say, I wish somebody would encourage me. You want the realest form of encouragement? Go out there and start encouraging. Go out there and start volunteering. Go out there and start sacrificing and serving and doing the things for other people, okay, that you wish they would do for you. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you. It will blow up your what you thought about encouragement and what you thought you needed regarding encouragement. And you'll meet incredible people along the way too when you see gratitude and thanks in people's eyes. Okay, so recap. We got to unlearn some habits. Got to identify those sources of discouragement. We got to get rid of those. Get them off the table. Get them out of there no matter what. Get rid of, it's just shit. It's garbage that's holding you down. Okay, next, what do we got? Identifying sources, or no, yeah, what do you need encouragement in? Okay, then what already encourages you, and then finding sources of encouragement for those things. Okay, and then the last one, the list of people you can encourage. Okay, but that is I mean, there's enough in this training on encouragement, guys. This stuff works. Try it. Try it. If it's not, if you try this stuff and it doesn't encourage you, you know what I mean? If you go out there and go give 100 people high fives at the mall tomorrow, and if it doesn't put a smile on your face, I'll send you $5. I'm not really gonna send you $5 because I don't have your address and I don't want it. But for real, like, go give people high fives. It's a ton of fun. You know what I mean? It's just this thing that just creates, when we start to give positivity and encouragement out, lights us up. It's super, super cool what ends up happening. So I hope that this has provided some value for you. I know that there's a lot of people out there that on the surface are providing encouragement, right? But it's often this generalized idea of just, oh, it's a motivational quote, or, hey, I hope this encourages you, and then it's not really what we're looking for. It's not the substance. But if you'll dig down on that list, on these lists that we talked about today, and if you need to watch this video over, do it as many times. I'm not going to take this down. This video is here for you, right? In the PDF that's along with this video, it's yours as many times as you need to go through it. But this stuff works. If you can be honest with yourself and raw and open and vulnerable with this content, and actually go through these exercises and identify these things and either get rid of them or apply them, things really do start to change. Things really do start to look up. And it's pretty freaking cool. I'll be honest with you. It's pretty cool to watch those things change. I was a negative person for a very long, long time. I was old grumpy pants, and that's just not a fun way to live. It's just really not. I find fulfillment in helping other people find theirs. Go and find your fulfillment in whatever it is that you have to offer. Go find your fulfillment in whatever it is you have to give. Okay? Your sources of encouragement will blow up. I mean, you won't even be able to believe how much encouragement you'll start getting. Okay? So live selflessly, know your worth. Okay? Stay strong, stay courageous, get out there, do this stuff for real. If you have found value in this, we've got some of the in the video that I did on purpose. We actually go to the park. Yeah, there's I find a scuba diver in the river at the park. True story. That's in the purpose one. If you want to see those other videos, just tell me where to send them. Put your email address in below, and I'll send you those 3 videos over the next few days. But I hope you got something out of this. I can't thank you enough for spending this time with me. It means a lot, and I'm honored that you would sit and listen. I hope you're getting some value out of this. If you got value out of this, please let me know on Instagram. Please let me know. Shoot me a DM, leave me a comment, something. Let me know what you got out of it. Let me know if you want any more. Let me know. Let me know what I can do to serve you. Let me know if you have any other questions. And then, yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more coming, but I hope you're encouraged by this. I know I am, and I will talk to you soon. See you in the next video.